Jim ate dumplings every day for 20 years, not because he liked them, but because it was the only way he could survive. He was desperate to figure out where he was and why he had been imprisoned. Before this ordeal, Jim was a middle-aged man whose life was falling apart. Beneath his polished exterior, he was an alcoholic living a reckless and self-destructive life. On his daughter's birthday, Jim showed no interest. When his ex-wife called to complain about his behavior, he insulted her without remorse. His boss asked him to secure a deal with a client, but Jim instead made inappropriate advances toward the client's wife. This led to the deal falling through and Jim getting slapped by the client. One night, drunk and stumbling down the street, Jim encountered a woman holding an umbrella. Suddenly, he felt dizzy and lost consciousness. When he woke up, Jim found himself in a locked room with fake windows. No matter how loudly he shouted, no one responded. He realized he had been imprisoned but had no idea why. Though food was delivered daily, it was always dumplings, which Jim couldn't stand. He tried to grab the leg of the person delivering the food, but they pushed him away without a word. Over time, Jim reluctantly accepted his reality. One day, white smoke filled the room, and Jim passed out. When he woke up, he discovered that someone had taken samples of his hair and skin. Later, he saw a news report on TV about his ex-wife's murder. Shockingly, all the evidence pointed to him as the suspect. Jim was devastated. He had been imprisoned, his ex-wife was dead, and he was being framed for the crime. For years, Jim remained lost and hopeless. But 5 years later, seeing his daughter thriving reignited his determination. He began training in martial arts, building muscle, and quitting alcohol completely. He poured every bottle of alcohol delivered to him down the toilet until he was free of his addiction. Jim had a plan: escape and reunite with his daughter. Using the bathroom, which was a blind spot for surveillance, Jim started chiseling away at the wall during his showers. Day after day, year after year, he worked tirelessly. 15 years passed. He had written hundreds of letters to his daughter and transformed himself into a strong fighter. Finally, the bathroom wall was completely broken through. Jim crawled through the ventilation ducts and breathed in the outside air for the first time in decades. Returning to retrieve his daughter's letters, Jim saw her on TV, playing the cello as a grown woman. Even as the room filled with toxic smoke again, Jim hesitated to leave. He was knocked unconscious once more. When he woke up, he was in a wooden box, dressed in a suit, with a bag of cash and a phone. He saw a familiar-looking woman and followed her, but was stopped by a group of young men. Jim fought them off but realized he had mistaken the woman for someone else. This led him to meet Mary, a beautiful young doctor, who gave him her business card and offered her help. Jim then went to his old friend Jika's bar and shared his story. While there, the mastermind behind Jim's imprisonment called him. From their conversation, Jim learned that their feud could put his daughter's life in danger.